why we weren't at the last PRS event and why we don't go to a lot of events right now. Coming at you from Casino Guitars. Hey, I'm Baxter.
I'm Jonathan.
And here we are just stewing and fuming as usual. Now, we're just talking trash as we always do. Having a good old time, talking the lore in the world of guitar. So there was just a great PRS event up in Maryland. We were not able to make it. We were busy as hell during that time. Other things coming up, but also we had to get into like the core of why we weren't there. Just as far as like we just don't have the guitars to sell. This is one of the bigger reasons. So we couldn't spend the actual physical time to go up there. We have core guitars. I think we ordered 3 years ago.
God, we're still waiting on.
Yeah, some 2 years ago. Crickets. So I was like, it's hard for us to like be motivated to like expand that base when there's hundreds of thousands of dollars of guitars waiting to be delivered that we haven't seen. And the ones
great guitar.
We've gotten a few cores in, but they haven't been what we ordered. That's all I'll say too. That's one part, but that's one of the, there's so many. You talk for a minute. I gotta sit down for a second.
I just, it's just kind of funny. We were talking about how there's a weird shift with NAMM being what it is. We've done videos on this already, where, we go to NAMM, and in the old days, you'd see everybody, you'd talk to everybody, you'd talk to all the manufacturers, you get an idea of what's coming out. And now, not only is there this move away from NAMM, there's this move to, we have to go to every individual.
And that was the biggest place. Like this was like right at we're really busy right now.
Right.
And we have a small team. So like, oh, can we unplug at the moment? Like, I mean, there's other personal factors involved, but it made it really difficult to get out that week too. But just in general, we have other manufacturers that are reaching out like, hey, we got this thing coming. I'm like, bro, I can't come. Like we have a small team. Like we got to keep the ship steering forward. And it is tricky now because it's like instead NAMM used to be like we spent 4 days, we saw every manufacturer.
Yep.
We did all of our business that we need to do in that sort of like one big swath of buying, public relations, new releases, NPIs, new product introduction, and all that stuff would happen there. We go and we have drinks with some of our manufacturers. It's always fun. Adventures with Don is like one of the things to look forward to. We'd always see my dude Clay at PRS. We'd always hang out, and like I remember doing our last NAMM where outside of our meeting rooms, like on the couches or something. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Just hanging out. It was fun. He's my boy. But now all the manufacturers sort of like they're all splintering because they don't feel like they need it anymore.
Right.
Which I get it.
Which is probably true
because sales have been as strong for them.
Yeah.
But as a shop, like we're still, and it seems like we're just having fun because we are, but we still have a business to run.
Well, we're trying to do that sort of mental calculus. Like, does it make sense to pause this sort of productivity, because you get in the flow, right? Where you're doing things, you get things done. For us, we're not only making these videos, we are trying to actually run a functional guitar shop.
Sort of
crazy, sort of
dysfunctional.
So we have to weigh out, like, does it make sense? Does it move the ball forward any for us to take time and go like to Maryland, for example?
No, or to go like I did go to Fender recently.
Yep,
that was a few months back. February, was it January? What month was that? I don't
remember.
It's all a big blur. I feel like it was January. But that was. Now, why did I go to Fender and not PRS?
That's a good question.
There's there's gonna be new products being released.
You knew that for sure.
I was told we have these. We're gonna talk with the executive board about the serious missteps that they made.
Yep.
During the last year, which was important. So I was sort of flushed out of that. I knew all the other dealers that were going, so we could all sort of communicate as well and coordinate that. And then here's another one. They paid for everything.
What?
I mean, well, it just made it a lot easier because, like, it's hard for, like, I can't be like, well, I'm going to have to spend a day driving.
Yeah.
Of lost productivity or get flights and, like, bring up my core. Like, I have 3 guys I really wanted to have. Like, we're all going to be there. We're excited to do it, but it's just, like, time and money-wise, I was like, this is going to be expensive and hard for us to get there right now.
Right.
And that made it pretty easy. But, there was also a fleshed-out schedule of, like, here's the NPIs, the new product introduction that's coming out for this I'm gonna call it semester. Because I like to think in school terms, not in quarters. Everything's like Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 sales. Breakthrough, it just gets frustrating. But no, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know there's this pretty spectacular releases at the PRS thing. I know all about it. I can't talk about it, but it's pretty exciting. So stay tuned for that stuff.
But I mean, some of it's got to be what you mentioned in the beginning, that we have all sorts of fenders, custom shops and non in the shop that we're trying to sell.
That's a big part of it too.
You know, and then PRS.
Well, like, that's the hard part. Like I know that they have to be making guitars.
One with, yes.
You know, like the core pieces, like we have tons of them ordered like a long time ago. We just keep waiting for them, and like we get a few in, they sprinkle in, but it's not fast enough. And then the SE thing's been tricky too. Those DGTs have been tough. I mean, the phone was ringing for a while. The same thing happened with the Roxy Pinks. You know,
because there's all this sort of, and I hate to use this word even, but hype. You know, like
there was a hype machine.
And you know, people get excited, and they maybe sometimes pay money. They pre-order.
We've had multiple people pay, and we've had awesome patient people. We still have like a couple guys waiting, I think, that have been awesome. Thank you for that. We appreciate your patience. This is truly a love letter in that respect to you.
But that's a window, right? Like, and so it's not awesome to the indie shops, especially when that window closes, and then that stuff hits sometimes a year later, and now we're maybe stuck with stuff that is not flying off the hooks.
Right, and that's the tricky part. It's like, so once we have it, it's ours.
Yeah.
And we can't refund that or return it. That's casino's land now. That's a big part of it. It's really the time thing. That's the scary part of how it's been splintered.
Yep.
Into all these like events, like let's say like, you know, again, Fender, PRS, well, Gresh's part of Fender, so Martin, Taylor, let's say Loudon's, or in some of these other boutique lines, like I can factor in spending some of the time on the boutique stuff because I'm going to get product usually.
Right.
You know, I'm going to get guitars. And it's just like one dude I'm hanging out with. He's the CEO, the CFO, the head of production, the head of finish, the head of fret checking. And
Sweeps the shop when the day's over.
he does sweep the shop, or doesn't sometimes.
Or not.
No, that's pretty easy.
You know?
But it's tough. It's the time wise and knowing like where our time is spent, where our money is spent,
Right.
and when our guitars are going to show up.
Yes.
Because, you know, and like I was talking before off camera a little bit, like we would have been able to like venture the trip a bit more if we'd been getting our core pieces in and out and selling them because no one builds a better guitar than PRS in that respect. That is like one of the best electric guitars in the world, hands down. And we love them. We just don't have any. I think we have 3.
Well, the excitement gets built by us seeing those guitars, right? Hands on, we're moving them. People are excited about them. So yeah, it's
that's like when we get like a lot of boutique stuff and we get jazzed up.
yeah, man. And then we'll all be like, oh, we got to have one of these.
I need this thing. I have to have this Novo right now.
Yeah.
And then you come back to your senses and you just buy one Novo. Right. I mean, I just saw some of the Echo Park woods that he's been cutting. He's got this ancient stuff that's different that we're sort of scheming on for a run coming soon. And he sent me the first snaps, and it was really cool to see it. And I got excited again because it's nice to be excited about guitars. I talked to Carlos at Castados about some guitars for some of our customers, and he started working on them.
Oh,
finally. And I'm excited about that too. So and I think the folks that are going to get them are going to be excited. But that's part of the process. We got to have guitars to sell to be excited. I know that everybody's doing their jobs to get them out to us, but again, it's tough to get the time, the motivation, and it wasn't simple things like when the Fender thing. I will say what was nice about that is like, you know, I don't care if it's a fancy hotel, if it's a Motel 6. That doesn't really mean much to me, but it was nice that it's a fancy hotel. But the transportation, is a big deal. Now jumping back to NAMM, that we pay for ourselves entirely.
for everything,
Like everything. And that's fine. Like they might take you out to dinner or something and do a few things just like, hey, thanks for doing business with us. But
it's one-stop shop.
And in one-stop shop.
Everybody's there. You know, and time's worth something, right? Because we were talking about if we, or even if just you, visited every one of our manufacturers, I think it's a conservative estimate that let's say it kills 2 weeks for you out of the year. That's a lot of time.
It's about 2 weeks of productive work days
Right.
gone. Like, you know, it's like at least 10 solid days in the shop.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot. And we get a lot done here. And fortunately, we get to hang out. We get to have our, you know, our sandwiches together. It's fun. We're friends. No, it does kill that. But even, let's say I go to NAMM, like we take our whole team out there. It's expensive.
Yep.
But, you know, I'm sitting there in manufacturer meetings. Derek and you and Sean are running around like mad hatters with like the cameras.
Yep.
Like getting content. I'm doing some content later too.
Yep.
It's and then we'll jump in for some dual manufacturer meetings when we need to. But it's done. And I can get all my manufacturers, all the guitar companies in one day.
Right.
That's what I try to do. I just sort of like, I do one to like a day and a half, like where I'm just going
The marathon.
And it's cool because like each meeting usually takes about an hour.
Yeah.
You know, it's maybe 2, depending on what you're doing. And as things go slow, the Martin meetings are always like a zoo because there's like the custom wood selection. And there's this huge line that lines up and you're like, oh, Lord. And they sell a ton of custom shops that day.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun. No, I sort of miss that.
That was kind of nice.
Right. Yeah, so I'm hoping that all the manufacturers will eventually be like, hey, I know your sales are through the roof. There were record profits. I mean, Fender had a whoopsie moment with like the record profits and that's a whole video on that. Go back on our channel, watch the whole when Fender with the whole thing where they had all the manufacturers, not the manufacturers, the big shops like Guitar Center and Sweetwater and Tillman, Musician's Friend, Guitar Center, sort of goofballed them. It's a good video on that one. So that was one of my favorite videos.
I will say something that just and we've kind of hit on this already, but it was very clear when you just said it. When you laid out NAMM, you just laid out a fictional what we would have done exactly while we were at NAMM. Like going in.
Oh yeah, that's
Do you know what I'm saying? Like because we were talking about like, well, we don't know if we go to PRS, for example, what does it look like? You know, because it wasn't like we're gonna be picking out woods or doing that stuff.
Well, because if I was picking out woods, or if we're doing a wood library run, this makes sense.
Sure.
Picking out woods for private stock, it makes sense because it's a lot. Time. I hate to say this, sounds like my father. Time is money,
but it is.
Time is my most valuable asset that I own, and I have to be really aware. If I'm going up there, which I do I need to get up there again because I want to pick out some woods. But they're like, there's no woods being picked out this time too. I was like,
so it makes more sense for us to go
separately.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't need anybody to hold my hand and walk me around. I can just give me a green pass and I'll walk around with Clay. We'll hang out and we'll shoot some stuff and we'll go pick out some really pretty woods. I know it's the private stock room is maybe one of the greatest things in all of guitar manufacturing. If you get a chance to do it, we have some videos on it. Let's go make some jokes on it too about some. No, I can't do it. Derek will get mad at me. But no, we have some. You know where I'm going now. Thank you. I try to have a little fun at Derek's expense. But no, but it's a magical room. It's fun. And if you're anywhere near Stevensville, Maryland, you can get access to that room. Get access to it. If you did Beg Bar Steel, it's an amazing thing. And this is just us talking about hoping that all the manufacturers listen a little bit. You know, like it's an expect. I know they don't listen to shit. Let me say, and deservedly so. We're kind of idiots.
It was nice to imagine for a minute.
No, it's funny because because even those many like fancy, full and beautiful toys we sell, like it's nothing compared to like the big box boys.
It's like not even a drop.
It's like
not even a drop.
So, but I look at the numbers and like they could be so much more if we actually had our guitars.
Yeah,
you know, they would be so much more. Our team would be excited if we had those guitars in stock. Like we finally have a good Fender custom shop selection. I remember during COVID, it was like 3 custom shops at one point. I was like, what has happened? And they're all sunburst. Yeah. It was like, I'm so sad. Aren't you guys like big custom shops? Yeah, we are. There's tons of order. They keep coming in and out. They go. But
I was going to say, at least part of that was that we just could not keep them. There was still a flow of them, right? We just...
It was brutal though. That it wasn't. Yeah, it was.
But yeah, no, we had never. I mean,
well, their lead time went up to about 18 months at one point, and then it's dropped back down. I think we're in that 12-month sort of sweet spot. Right. I've had things showing up in 10. I've had things at 14.
Stuff a little early.
So it's been you're back in the business with there. I would love to see it get down to around 8 months. That was at a point pre-COVID, before everything lit up entirely. That was pretty amazing. You're like, oh cool, I'm gonna see this guitar. I remember back when I could get a guitar in like a week or two from like Taylor. Right. And like now we're back to like 30 days, which sometimes a week or two for certain pieces.
It's kind of like when gas goes up to $5 a gallon, and then suddenly $3.19 is like, oh man, super reasonable.
Let it steal.
Thank God.
So thanks for listening to us rant about this for a minute. It's just it's more, this is the state of the industry as a whole is what we're talking about, and how it's transforming. We have multiple videos on this. I'm using my hands a lot right now. Multiple videos just discussing like the change. There's gonna be some massive changes, some like geothermic changes coming soon.
Whoa, big word.
With some major shops restructuring big time. So, and that's going to affect the manufacturers, and they're all trying to prepare for that.
I just enjoyed the slow cadence.
Yes.
What to say slowly
And death. No, I just talk. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. That's all I got.
That's it.
That's all I got.
There you go.
Again, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
And have fun out there. Let us know your thoughts. And I think that's all I got to say. And that's all there is. That's what Forrest Gump says on it, right? What does he say?
I think that's all I had to say about that.
That's what I was trying to remember what movie that was.
That's right.
Can't wait to watch that.
That's
Boy,
right.
thanks. Peace be with you. Click like, subscribe.
Hit the old bell.
We're out of here.